I've been called Black Fabio before.
Black Fabio. Holy shit. Now, always, and forever, that's going to be your new name. Hey, shout out to Black Fabio on Twitter.
On the air, so
that should be your alternate account.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're never living that down. All right. Thanks, Simon here for the MMA Vivisection, Bloody Elbow. Joined today by Black Fabio. And we are here to talk about we're doing a doubleheader show. We're going to be running through it mostly because this Bellator card sucks ass, and we're not going to talk about it too much.
I need to change my Twitter handle to Black Fabio.
You do.
Oh,
you got
it. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, but Noah Lahat in a main event, I don't give a shit. You know, I don't. That's nothing against Noah Lahat, but
no.
He's not a main event fighter.
I always appreciate the honesty. I just didn't think you'd be kicking down the door with that shit. Like, wow, okay, shit, let's go.
So,
hey, you can be mad at the truth all you want. It's still the truth.
Yeah,
but this Bellator card sucks. We're going to spend most of our time on this PFL card, which has a lot more interesting fights on it, a lot more talent up and down the thing. But let's start out on this Bellator card. Let me pull up best fight odds, see if they've actually done anything for it. Probably not.
Either probably not, or we have like prelim fucking odds.
I got nothing for any of this.
No
Bellator, no PFL, no nothing. Which
how do they keep doing this?
It kind of surprises me on
Wednesday,
the PFL because we're only a day off from the PFL, and it's full of names that people know how to bet on. So
we don't usually get Bellator odds on Wednesdays until like much later.
Yeah, so I wasn't surprised at Bellator odds, but you know, Jake Shields, John Howard, Lewis Taylor, Hassan Umalatov, Eddie Gordon, like these are all people that have had UFC odd lines.
Yeah, known commodities.
But on the same token, there has been a lot of upsets. So maybe the odds makers are just like, man, fuck this shit. Like, I don't think we need to be
I honestly think that the kind of decline in hardcore interest for MMA that's been going on lately, and the amount of extra content we're getting with regular PFL shows, or Dana White Tuesday Night Contender shows, Bellator shows, everything combined, we're starting to kind of make a backwards move where the odds makers are getting less and less up on what the matchups are and setting worse odds so we get more upsets. I remember, you know, just that,
or more crazy upsets.
Yeah. Like, what was it?
Abubakar Nurmagomedov.
Or was it Polyana? Yeah, Polyana Viana versus
JJ Aldrich.
Yeah, JJ Aldrich from the last card, and like Viana's like a 300, a plus or minus 300 favorite. It's just like she's gonna lose that fight.
I think Dustin Ortiz was a major underdog recently, also.
Yeah, and it's just like these, you know, these aren't the easiest calls in the world to make. Aldrich isn't like some stone cold killer, but they're not impossible. They're not hard calls to make either. Where it's just like,
well, it wasn't like Abubakar was like minus in the thousands in when he lost to who was that guy? Pavel
Kush, I think. Yes.
Yeah.
Who's headlining this card essentially? That's, you know.
So, yeah. I definitely think that maybe odds makers are getting a little more wary about some of these high volume of events where maybe people aren't doing as much talent scouting as they used to.
Yeah, that could be where they're just like, fuck it. There's too much unknowns.
Yeah, we don't have the time to scout this properly, set good odds. We're just going to cost ourselves money if we fuck it up. So, no odds. We're going to get right into it. Jump on this Bellator card. Undercard has
Romero Cotton.
Yeah, that's worth watching.
Yes.
David Mushad, who isn't necessarily worth watching, but he was in the UFC and did win a fight.
Yeah. David Mushad, somebody, you know, who's familiar. Somebody
oh shit, dude, he's fighting a 3-0 guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's a tough 3-0 guy, and you also got Jason Jackson, the Blackzilian, former Blackzilian, who did some work at Victory. So, you know, there's some meat on that bone. Let's not get that wrong. As far as the prelims go, it looks pretty promising, but I wouldn't say it's like, you know, must see TV other than Romero Cotton.
Yeah, and then we got our main card prelim bout: Taiwan Claxton versus Chris Lencioni. Claxton being the guy who landed that huge flying knee and is kind of getting some love as a potential future Bellator star, but is only 2-0. Do we care enough about this fight to pick it? I mean,
Oh, don't fucking tempt me, dude. I'll pull out this Mohegan Sun coin. Where's it at? I'll fucking do it, dude. Don't play with me.
You gotta. You guys care enough about that? No, okay.
I will definitely pick Claxton because he's so explosive.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Then we're getting to this to James Gallagher, Ricky Bandejas. You got 2 minutes or less to pick this fight, Eddie.
I got Gallagher by submission.
All right. And Vic?
Real quick, I couldn't find any recent fight footage on Bandejas, so except for just a GIF of his finish. So I mean, he's got to show me something before I could ever pick him. So Gallagher by default.
He's got a win over Merab Dvalishvili, to his credit, early in Dvalishvili's career, and Dvalishvili's a tough kid. And otherwise, unfortunately, a lot of those East Coast fight promotions don't always release a lot of tape on people, so you kind of just got to roll with whatever's out there. Vic, 2 minutes or less, who you picking?
I didn't need that kind of time, man. Irish Jimmy all day, submission, round 1.
All right, that brings us to our co-main event: Logan Storley, AJ Matthews. Vic, what do you got?
I like the fact that this is a really stiff test for Storley, who is absolutely one of the most least talk about top prospects that Bellator was able to poach off the wrestling scene. And AJ Matthews being a super durable veteran. We saw him with his porn stash fight last time around, put on a really gritty, gutsy performance. He's not a slouch on the ground. His striking is serviceable, and he's going to give Storley fits. But obviously, we know, looking at this matchup, just looking at the numbers, clearly they want this to be a feather for Storley to put in his cap. And I kind of see it, man. I mean, he's adapting his wrestling a lot better for MMA. He's really been able to turn a lot of things around and lose some of the habits of just trying to keep control while also shoring up some of his offense striking. I don't know how well his defense is going to hold up here. I'm pretty sure Matthews is going to find some ways to set up his shots and do a bit of damage, but otherwise I think Storley should safely take this.
All right, Eddie, who you picking?
Real quick, what the fuck is a Brugal Bernstein there, Mr. Vic M. Rodriguez?
Brugal Bernstein. Brugal. Google that shit. Yeah.
All right. Well, anyways, Vic tweeted me, calling me Black Fabio on Twitter, so I didn't know who Brugal Bernstein was.
I put it out into the ether. It's over now.
I opened it, and I was like, who is this? And then I see, it's Vic.
Yeah.
Vic, you should be working right now. What are you doing on the Twitter?
I don't know, dude. This is how you fool child support, man. I mean, you know.
Eddie, you're supposed to be working. This is your call right now.
AJ Matthews, I think it's safe to say, is the most dangerous opponent of Storley to date, even though Storley has fought some decent guys.
Yeah.
Matt Secor, legit test.
Yeah.
Matthews is known for knocking fools out, but he's also known for being super beatable. He was on a 4-fight losing skid before winning that split decision over Kendall Grove, who, by the way, is about to be in that bare knuckle boxing fighting Bruce Abramski in Biloxi, Mississippi in a couple weeks.
True.
Which, if I think bare knuckle boxing, I think Kendall Grove. I'm sure he's going to use his reach. Oh man.
Man, bare knuckle boxing is just made for MMA dudes who were never good boxers to test their hands in some hilarious ways. Like, I know every card in the foreseeable future is going to have one dude on it where I'm like, really?
Yeah,
we're going to see Jake Shields in bare knuckle boxing before long.
Yeah, hey, we might see Lumpini Shields, one of absolute favorite Zane Simonism ever.
I got to pick Storley here. He's such a hot shit wrestler that I believe he'll be able to get that fight to the ground and make this a fucking grind and give Matthews no space and no time to get his strikes off. Could easily get knocked out, but I don't see it being likely. So Storley by decision.
All right. I mean, I kind of feel like I should give this more time, but honestly, Eddie, you got like 3 minutes max to.
First thing I wrote down was, why is this even a thing?
Thank you. Oh my God.
If this were Israel, I could understand, but this is bullshit. I mean, Caldwell all day. Lahat might even get knocked out. Caldwell's better wrestler and far superior athlete. Lahat, he's got his jiu-jitsu, and that's about fucking it. And yeah, he could catch a fucking sub like Ty Manglo did, but honestly, he's getting fucking wrecked here. Caldwell by TKO.
Yeah. Vic?
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's such a weird division now. Like, you'd think 145 was one of the marquee divisions for Bellator for such a long time. And it's
This
like
is
there wasn't anyone else. No, 45.
That's 40.
Yeah.
This
So
is
I don't.
45?
This is 45, my
Oh,
guy.
shit.
Best
Damn.
believe. So I don't get it, man. Like, no disrespect to Lahat, but like, I don't know how he gets off a decision win against a fighter no one really, outside of the hardcores really know, and that gets him a title shot. Yeah, but again, like, it's not even an Israel card or a Europe card. I don't know why this happens, but
Oh, shit.
yeah.
No, this is not a title fight.
No.
Non-title? No.
Why
You're
the
right.
fuck
Yeah,
is
you're
he
right.
fighting at 45? He's the bantamweight champ, right?
Maybe because there's no one available now, and they might have time restriction.
Oh,
they have to offer him a fight.
This fight makes a lot more sense then, since it's not for the title. I can at least give it a little bit more.
I misread that. It's not a title fight.
Like, you need, it's like what's to pick in this fight? Like,
it's just a matter of this
at 45.
Yeah.
That's the only interesting thing about this is Caldwell at 45.
It's just a matter of seeing how well he's done, like what other progress he's done since moving to Alliance, and how much more he's grown against another proven veteran who's faced some bigger names. And in that case, I got to stick with Caldwell because, I mean, seriously, how can I not?
Well, you know what? This could be like a test in the waters for a potential 145 title run.
Which I'd be okay with that. I mean, he's pretty lanky. He's a pretty big dude at that weight class. Like, why not?
And I think there's more fun fights at 45.
Yeah. It's weird to me to see your reigning bantamweight champion taking a, like, well, let's see if you can do it fight at 145.
Well, not really. Anderson Silva did it. I mean, he was like,
how long ago was that? Like, when it was like, oh, we need some Anderson Silva shine on this upcoming card.
Yeah,
let's throw him in against somebody at 180 or 205.
James Irvin.
Yeah,
but that's a different time and a different environment. This is that's what makes this stand out way more.
This is like
so weird that this is 45.
This is like if the UFC had like Max Holloway on an upcoming fight night card, and they put him in against like, I don't know, like Jim Miller or something, and you'd be like,
oh God, oh wow, oh don't do that. I want to see the fuck out of that. But God damn, that's a good idea.
Is it? I mean,
yeah, to me it is. In terms of watching Max Holloway wreck shop, yeah.
I guess. It's just it's to show up and watch Darian Caldwell work. It's just Darian Caldwell doesn't really. He's not yet a core. He doesn't yet feel like a core part of the like Bellator backbone audience. So you're not really showcasing. I don't know.
And this is definitely by far, without a question, the best wrestler that Lahat has ever faced in his career.
Yeah,
hands down.
It's a South Dakota card too. Like, I mean, what are you gonna do?
He's got size and a choker's chance, but outside of that, yikes.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why they don't have odds for this shit show.
Yeah.
Okay, that probably might be it.
Caldwell's actually taller and his reach is 5 inches longer. So he'll be bigger. He'll likely be a bit bigger in the cage too. All right, that brings us to the PFL card.
Yeah, enough of that tomfoolery.
Yeah, and we're gonna try to hustle through this quick picks because I got other shit. We got other places to be, but we got half an hour to burn through it. First up, Hassan Umalatov, Eddie Gordon. Vic, what you thinking?
Yeah, tough break for Gordon, man. Another Russian right after that last loss, and he's just been, I don't know, man. It's been hard for him to really put everything together. I like Gordon, but I don't like his chances here, and Molotov seems like he's much more of a finished product, so I'm going to go with Gassan.
All right. Eddie?
Yeah, Umalatov. Gordon's so untrustworthy, and it's not like I trust Umalatov a lot more, but I do, so.
Gordon... It always, for like, there's like a 30-second window where you're like, oh, yeah, this looks like it could be something. Then you see how slow he is, and it's just like, I don't know where you're, like, how are you going to make that up? How are you going to make up for being, absolutely, like, going to a split decision with Chris Dempsey because you're not fast enough to knock out the most knockoutable fighter in the American MMA scene.
Oh God!
Yikes!
I hadn't thought of that. That's right.
Overeem has something to say about that. Yeah.
Nah, Overeem's chin has miles on what Chris Dempsey's working with.
Jesus.
All right. Takes us to Lewis Taylor and Andre Lobato. Eddie, handguns.
Yeah, for sure. I'm taking up. I'm taking handguns for sure. I think he is just fun and gully, and he will throw his hands recklessly, and he just might connect and get the W. And we're friends on Facebook, so.
Yeah, you gotta roll with your boy then. Also, I forgot it's put the guns down, Taylor. Now
he changes it, but yeah.
All right.
It goes back and forth, but he's a Rufus Sport cat, right?
I think he
with
might be
Bilal
now.
Muhammad and all them.
I think he might be part-time with them. I don't remember.
Yeah, he probably trains with them off and on.
Yeah.
I don't see like it says something like Chicago Fight Team on there, but all right.
Yeah, those don't get often. Yeah. Oh yeah, my turn. Okay, yeah, dude. I gotta go with Lewis Taylor. He's a way more diverse and explosive striker. He does damage when he lands, and he finds ways to do it. And Lobato's a bit more of a slower starter. And shout out to Lobato for that. If you ever see this type of LVG photo where he's got that cardboard looking at his belt, shout out to you, my guy. You went another life. But yeah, man, it's Lobato hasn't had much luck outside of Brazil, and it's because the kind of fighters he's been fighting more or less like him and kind of at his tempo, and Taylor's not going to bring that. So I got Lewis Taylor by violence.
Man, you got to feel Lobato really got lucky at one point. He was supposed to fight Paulo Costa in a regional bout that got canceled.
He dodged one of them big motherfucker bullets from Mario Brothers. That one, huh?
Yeah.
That was his last scheduled fight before he left the Brazilian
Or
circuit.
it's like he made it through the Mario boat stage.
Yeah.
With all the bullets coming from every
That's
direction.
right. All right. Next up, middleweight bout, Shamil Gamzatov, Rex Harris. And Vic, who you picking?
I like Gamzatov because of his ability to like actually, out-grapple his opponent and, really land some good shots. But I'm kind of feeling Harris here, man. I don't know. He's shown that he's another one of those guys who's able to like open up a little tentatively and then just start pouring it on. We saw him take that fight against Andre Lobato in his last outing, and I don't know, man. I don't think he's going to be able to survive very much on the ground. I don't think he needs to. I think he might be able to put it together and finish this one probably round two, maybe late round two.
All right, Eddie.
I got Gamzatov. I've never seen him lose. I've seen Harris lose. Harris's little T-Rex arms, I think, are a hindrance. He's kind of got one of those, what's his face, Hector Lombard kind of bodies. Actually, there's a couple people on this fucking card that have the same kind of body type, just like super built, but like kind of little tiny short arms.
Maybe that's why Harris's nickname is T. It's like short T-Rex.
Or
it would be funny.
It is T-Rex Harris. So
it is T-Rex. Oh, okay.
Well, no, his name is Rex. His nickname is
right,
T.
T-Rex. God, how did I not see that? Oh,
smoke another one.
T-Rex. Fucking Christ. Oh, it's even dumber. Oh my God.
So close. You were so close.
I had one job. I was right there. I didn't see a motherfucker coming. Jesus.
All right. That brings us to another middleweight bout. Abasupian Magomedov versus Anderson Gonçalves. Eddie?
I'm actually excited for this a little bit because I think it's going to look really it's going to be action-packed. Two guys with similar builds. They're both coming to bang. But I'm going to go with Magomedov because he's just more defensively responsible. And that's basically what it comes down to. These guys are going to come out. They're going to throw punches at each other. And I just feel like there's more gaps in Goncalves' game, more holes in his striking defense. And I think that's going to get exposed. So I got Magomedov here. But I'm expecting fireworks.
All right. Vic, who you picking?
Yeah, man, I like what all those guys at the Dusseldorf gym are doing now. Like, we've seen them export a lot of dudes into KSW and all around the European scene. And Magomedov is just, he's been looking good, dude. He's been able to land some nasty body kicks and some good punches. Like, he's able to read where his opponent's head's going to be and pinpoint just how to really fucking blast him. So I got to go with Magomedov here, man. I don't think this really even goes to the ground to begin with. I think he's going to be able to comfortably keep it standing and start doing that damage from there and finish Gonzalez.
All right. Brings us to a highly familiar bout. John Howard, Bruno Santos. Vic, who are you picking?
You know what, man? I for some reason I've always had a soft spot for Doomsday, but I really don't think this fight's gonna probably be really fucking ugly. I just Santos is pretty much a propensity for decision wins, and Howard at 185, even though he's fighting a stout guy who's pretty bricked up, I don't really like the way this could really look.
Santos and Howard are both dudes that you get commentators who are like, "Oh man, look at these dudes! They're huge. You know that they're gonna pack some heat." And then you watch the fight and you're like, "Okay, wow."
I mean, just because you got muscular density doesn't equate to like you having amazing knockout power every time out. And I mean, it depends who you're hitting too. So it's like
they throw one strike a minute. I mean, Santos
exactly.
Santos famously just is like gonna look bulked up and then shoot a takedown and lay on you as tight as you can.
It's a lot of inactivity, which makes this one a little hard to call. So I'm probably gonna go with the safe one here, going with Santos. But I mean, Howard might be able to pull something off, negate a takedown and create a scramble and start like wailing on him from there. I mean, that's probably his clearest path to victory. But I'm sure he's gonna try to keep his I's dotted, his T's crossed. So I'm still going to stick with Santos on this one.
All right. Eddie, who you picking?
I definitely feel like I've seen this fight before, but I haven't.
It really does feel like it's happened.
And not in the good way either.
No, in like a horrible kind of way.
Yeah.
I love me some John Howard, the person. Like I've met him. I've interviewed him a couple times. Great
He's like a really good dude.
Yeah, like super cool dude. John Howard, the fighter, is untrustworthy as they come. Like you cannot trust this guy to perform. Like you don't know what you're gonna get. Like he's bricked up and he's got the Muay Thai, Mark Delagrati trained and all this, but it's not like he's coming out and taking over fights with the striking. Like sometimes, but like it's hit or miss. It's here or there.
A lot of times, his best performances are when he can out wrestle
doubles. Yeah. Exactly. And that's not going to be there in this fight. So it's like he has to stand with Santos. And sure he could, but like I trust Santos being able to control with the grappling and stall up against the fence, get on top, and really just make this boring as hell. Paul Daly will be somewhere giving a thumbs down. Like I think it's really going to be a slog.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I'm taking Santos by decision, but I would love nothing more for John Howard to get the W here and go on to win the $1 million. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
But I don't wishful thinking.
All right, welterweight bout next. Jake Shields, Herman Dorado. Shields mid-carding a PFL card. Man, that's some harsh shit.
And he's facing another bricked up fucking dude like he did last time.
Another Islander too. Yeah.
All right, Eddie, who you taking?
Man, I have to pick Shields by default, right? Like you have to. But Torado is the same thing with Ray Cooper III.
Yeah.
Just bricked up, down to bang it out. Could easily hurt Shields and put him away on the feet. This could look identical to Shields' last fight.
Yeah, that loss was bad for sure. Like Shields just looked bad.
He's like face flopping out there and shit. Like the worst I've ever seen Jake Shields look.
Yep.
So it's like, man, I'm scared to pick Jake Shields, but like I am because I feel like I have to because of how far above everyone else he is with his grappling. I have to pick him. So Jake Shields, I hope he doesn't get knocked the fuck out again. Hopefully he'll get a cool ass submission or something. But man, this is another one of those, you watch your heroes get beat up in this sport. It's kind of just part of the gig.
Heroes and Jake Shields.
Hey, I like Jake Shields, man. I'm a big Jake Shields fan. I loved his fight with Damian Maia. That's one of my favorite fights, grappling-based fights of all time.
Fair enough. All right.
You know,
who you picking?
I keep saying that I got to rewatch that fight, and I never do. So I got to get around to that. But more immediately, this whole thing here with Tirado, I got to disagree with Chetty. I don't think this is going to go like the last one. Cooper was a much more composed striker, and he does hit pretty hard. Tirado doesn't have that same kind of style, and he hasn't been the same dude that beat up AJ Matthews back in Strikeforce like all those years ago. So I kind of think that, you know, Tirado's going to be able to get away with some of the defense early. I don't think he's really going to have that kind of success striking. And yeah, man, I got to go with Shields on this. It's kind of sad, man. I mean, it was a really bad loss. I don't want to make excuses for the guy, but it's like, it's one of those situations where you wonder if he was knocked out in training or something happened, or maybe he just underestimated Cooper or something like that. Because I mean, Cooper hit that dude so hard, he knocked him down in card placement. I've never seen some shit like this happen outside of the UFC. That's fucking nuts.
I mean, yeah. You know, the other part of it is Shields is 39, you know, like those miles got to come. They got to come.
Yeah,
start coming up.
I mean, that catches up to you.
Shields probably should have been fighting Ray Cooper II again. For the third time, I think they fought twice. Right?
Get Ray Cooper the first in here.
Take the trifecta.
All right.
Well, are you picking Shields too, Vic?
I have to. Yeah, absolutely.
It's like it's almost an obligation, right? Doesn't everyone feel like that? Like
well,
obligated?
It's not as much as an obligation. It's just like I'm looking at Tirado, and he's not bringing the same substance to the table that Cooper is. He brings other challenges, but it's not something that's insurmountable for someone like Shields, especially someone who's fought.
Nobody was picking Cooper III to beat.
No, like,
it
absolutely
was
not.
But the same sort of rhetoric, like Shields all day.
That Ray Cooper loss was the worst loss of Jake Shields in like a decade. You know?
Yeah. I'd agree. But then Cooper looks like he might be poised for bigger things. We'll have to wait and see.
Hey,
all right. Up next, Rick Story, Carlton Minus.
Mm.
All right. Vic.
That's just such a funny last name, Minus. For anyone,
it really does sound like a rejected other Fresh Prince character.
Yeah,
Carlton,
yeah.
Like Peter Carlton.
Yeah. No, man. Minus is the guy, for those not familiar with him, he did the bulk of his work up in Alaska. He's primarily done a lot of striking work, and he's looked pretty good with some of it. Again, pretty decent takedown defense. He's good at scrambling and getting to his feet, but he's going to be facing the absolute best wrestle boxer he's faced ever in Rick Story, who's super tough. You know, I thought he was probably on some kind of decline when he prior to his win against Gunnar Nelson, but no, man, I mean, he's still there. He's still got it, you know, and I think that the experience will be able to carry the day, and the veteran savvy will shine through, and Rick Story should be able to get this.
Rick looked, I mean, all credit, he looked fucking unstoppable against Villafort. Like, he absolutely was teeing off on him.
Yeah.
He did get tagged a bit in that. Like, it wasn't like a clean, sweet, flawless victory, you know. But
it wasn't flawless, but it was dominant. Like, he just
was dominant.
The parts where he looked good, he looked amazing, you know.
Yeah. All right, Eddie, who are you picking?
But what surprised me was Story was got taken down right off the bat, got controlled in a lot of the exchanges. So I mean, it's not like he was fucking, you know, the best I've ever seen Rick Story.
No, not the best I've ever seen, but it was like compared to his loss to Donald Cerrone, where he just looked lost and got totally pieced up.
Yeah.
Obviously, Yuri Villafort's not anywhere in the stratosphere of Donald Cerrone. But
no, not in this universe.
It was good to see in a fight against somebody who's not in that universe. Rick Story still looked way better than he looked way better than his opponent.
Yeah. So Minus. Sorry, man, but Rick Story's the plus. It is what it is. It is what it is.
Motherfucker. I'd be more upset if you didn't use that pun. It's like it's right fucking there. Got to.
Yeah. Also, you know, PFL's got this thing now where it seems like they're bringing in these Alaska FC guys and they need somebody to like tag in.
Yeah.
One of their fighters, and
it's like when I look at success. I look at the opposition that Carlton Minus has faced, and it just doesn't add up.
Yeah, I mean,
add up, Minus, add up.
I fucking love this guy. This is amazing. This is great. This is great.
All right.
These two, Story and Minus, are not equal. Should I keep it going? Should I keep it going?
Fuck you already, dude. Get out of here with that shit.
Up next, Joao Zaffarino, Yuri Villafort, Eddie.
One more. Rick Story would have the minus line in those betting odds.
Boo! Fuck out of
Minus would have
here.
the plus
Boo.
side.
Yeah, that's time to wrap it up. Hit
That
the
felt
wrap
like
it up.
the worst thing is that felt like a retread, which is the biggest insult.
Yeah. Okay.
You got to
Eddie?
buzz me.
Zeffirino, Villafort.
So Villafort, as we just mentioned, did well against Rick Story, considering they're not in the same league. You know, like complete different calibers of fighters. But I believe he did the best he very well could. He never quit. He kept throwing back even when he was rocked and getting the shit beat out of him, like on the feet. Like he was getting pummeled, but like somehow just super tough. Keeps throwing back. Like I said, got a takedown on Story right away. Did really way better than I expected him to do in the grappling exchanges. Zeffirino, he absolutely nuked Paul Bradley in his last fight. I mean, he let his hands go and got a standing knockout. Didn't see that one coming. But it just goes to show how lethal Zeffirino is. Like, this dude finishes his fights. Like, the chances of this going the distance whenever Zeffirino is in there is slim to none, because the dude will go out on the shield or he's going to take you out. And because he's definitely the more lethal striker here, he's the more lethal of the two. And I think Zeffirino is pretty damn good, every bit as good on the ground as Villafort. So, I mean, he's got, how can I not pick him here? You know, Zeffirino by some sort of finish. Pick your poison, really. I just don't. I feel like Villafort is almost like, he's like a piece of Zeffirino. He's got like a piece of Zeffirino's game. You know what I mean? But not. He's lacking in a lot of areas. So, you know, Villafort did good against Rick Story, but it's definitely not enough for me to pick him against Joao Zeffirino here. So,
all right, Vic, who are you picking?
You know, the funny thing is that Villafort, like, okay, Zeffirino's been on he's going through a bit of a rough patch lately, but the quality of his opposition has been that much greater than Villafort. I mean, it's not anyone's fault, really. It's just kind of how these things shake out. So Zeffirino's game is just crafty enough that even though Villafort is also a very stable veteran, I don't know, man. I'm not really seeing it. I think Zeffirino is like, he's got the steadier hand in that respect. Like, this is the kind of opponent that he should be able to beat, and that he should be able to not only outpace with his cardio, but also kind of stay a step ahead. You know what I mean? So I got to go with Zeffirino, probably by decision on this.
I mean, it's telling that, you know, Villafort,
by decision. Decisions. Zeffirino don't do decisions. Get out of here.
He might not have a choice, bro.
I mean, it's telling to me that Villafort, you know, he ran out a bunch of wins, got to the big leagues, ran out a bunch of losses, went back super regional, facing, you know, some 11-7, 11-12, 39-23 dudes, and went on a run again. You know, a couple of guys in there, I know, 7-2, 10-3. They're not all terrible records, but went out on a run against some bad opposition. And then the moment he gets back up into PFL, he looked totally outclassed. Like, that tells you something. When a guy who's been having a bunch of success against fighters that aren't very good comes back up and still doesn't look very good. Whereas, you know, Zeffirino, it's like, okay, you know, you take a loss here to
was that Fitch, I think, and Foster?
Yeah, he took a couple losses to Brian Foster and John Fitch, but then he comes back and beats Jason High, loses to Herman Tirado, goes out, beats Paul Bradley. Yeah. Like, mixing in competitive losses with competitive wins.
Yeah.
And that tells you a lot more.
And he's killing people.
Yeah. Given the chance. All right, that brings us to another welterweight bout. Abubakar Nurmagomedov, Jonathan Weston. Maybe Nurmagomedov might be, you know, Nurmagomedov might be trying to get Weston to do some push-ups here.
Toss some money at him, and then like scoop it up with a vacuum cleaner. Like, no, mine's.
All right. Anyway, Vic, who are you picking?
I don't know, man. I mean, I never knew dude was such a fan of bum fights. Do they have bum fights DVDs in Dagestan? Do they know that exists? Never mind. Okay. I don't know, man. Weston's a good product. Okay, if this were like 2 years ago, I'd be like, I don't know that he's ready to face somebody who's got all the tools that Nurmagomedov has in his toolkit. But at the same time, Nurmagomedov's been like, especially that last fight he had. It really makes me wonder if his fight IQ was ever that great to begin with. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe his skill set was really, really good, but some of his decision making is just like, ooh, yeah, I don't know. That shows, and that's not to say that Kush is a pushover or anything like that. I mean, it's conceivably a fight that he probably really should have won, and I think Weston
crazily favored in that fight.
She should have been, and that's the thing that makes me wonder that maybe this is like. Other than the Doomsday Howard fight, this is probably the fight on the card that has the greatest potential for like a really stupid upset. And you know what? I don't know that I trust Nurmagomedov after that last outing, man. I like smart money should be on him, but I'm actually going to go with Weston on this one because you know what? I'm feeling reckless.
All right, Eddie, you pick it.
I'm definitely taking Nurmi by TKO. So Nurmi, he definitely got handled, and he got club and subbed. You know what I mean? Like that's pretty bad. But I mean that the uppercut he got hit with that hurt him. I mean, would have really hurt anyone. It was like the timing was just perfect. You know, like shit like that happens. Weston, man, he could cause the same sort of issues on the feet, honestly, but he did struggle with stopping the takedown and getting back to his feet against Velikovic in his last fight, and he got pounded out for it. So, like, I feel like if it does hit the ground, Nurmi's going to style on him. But can he get the fight to the ground is the real question. And honestly, I think he will. I think he will. If Velikovic is getting the fight down, I think Nurmagomedov is getting the fight down to the ground. So I'm going to pick Nurmagomedov by a TKO. But not trustworthy. Definitely not trustworthy. I feel like then his last name is like puts him on this hype train that maybe he isn't deserving of.
Well, he's just not the athlete that his cousin is.
That's a big thing. He's definitely not a really good athlete.
Yeah, he's not bad, but
like when it comes, it's really noticeable with his striking.
Yep. Like
he's so wooden with his striking. Like I'm surprised he hasn't gotten knocked down or hurt earlier in his career, to be quite honest. But
all right, that brings us to a women's lightweight bout, the rare over 145 bout in women's MMA. Kayla Harrison versus Josette Cotton. And Eddie, who you picking?
I'm going to pick Harrison because she gets the benefit of the doubt. Olympic gold medalist judoka versus some chick. Harrison made her pro MMA debut with the first round armbar. I think she looked pretty good. She got the takedown, took the back, rolled for the arm, spun her opponent around, got the armbar. Cotton, she has been fighting for a long time, since 2012, so she does have a bunch of experience. She has never won by submission. Her only loss is by decision. So I think she'll probably get subbed here. I don't think the ground is her area. I think this might be a setup fight, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So who really knows, because the lack of experience on Harrison's side, but she does give me that Ronda Rousey feel. Like she's coming, she's going to take you down, and she's going to rip your arm off. And that's what I think is going to happen here. But who really knows? My official prediction is who fucking knows, but Harrison gets the benefit of the doubt. I think she deserves it.
All right. Vic,
Athleticism alone, she deserves the benefit of the doubt.
Where are you picking, Vic?
Two things here. Josette Cotton, if that name sounds familiar, is because of that ass ugly fight that took place in Bellator, where she was supposed to fight at 155, and I don't know if she and her opponent both missed weight. It ended up being around 170, and she did that weird bunny hop thing, and it was just like a couple of pot shots. She's really just, I mean, and notice again, I'm not saying this to knock her, but it's like she is really largely a boxer that has some takedown defense and is doing MMA, and there's nothing wrong with that, but
there's her ceiling in women's boxing, so you know.
It's like there's the money and the frequency of availability or opportunity to go out and make that. So it's like I don't really. Perhaps she might have been advertised as something that she was not, and that's how we ended up here. Very stiff test, regardless. Very tough fighter. I'm not going to knock that. But Kayla Harrison's last fight was against a really, really good jiu-jitsu player. So it's like if she could do that to a jiu-jitsu fighter, like what can she do against someone who is far less capable on the ground? I mean, yeah, sure, she's going to have to avoid some shots, but it's like, okay, this is like a very segmented type of challenge. Right, first you fight a really good grappler, now you're going to fight a pretty good striker, and good luck with that shit. So that's why Kayla Harrison should be a lock on this.
Yeah, I mean, and like, not to draw all the Ronda Rousey comparisons, but she does have that preternatural grappling, and it does feel a bit like, Rousey early in her career facing people like Edion Gomes and,
Why not? Why are you hesitant
Julia,
to throw out the Rousey comparisons? I think that's, if you could ever throw out Rousey comparisons, it's
yeah, but every woman with any hype gets, and especially any woman coming out of judo is going to get like.
But if you win a gold medal, though, I think you get a little credence. You know what I mean?
But this is kind of like Ronda Rousey coming out with and facing Edion Gomes and Julia Budd, who both ended up being very good. I mean, they're both better fighters than Cotton. But
absolutely, yeah,
it's still right out some fighters right out of the gate who are big and strong and can compete in some ways, but are probably just not going to have seen the kind of technique that's coming at them. So,
no, I don't know. It's this is just a whatever fight. It's like, hey, tune in to see the Kayla Harrison show.
Well, I mean,
I'm good with that. Yeah.
She's got.
I mean, the fact that she's 8-1 is like, oh, cool. She's getting like someone who can actually fight.
Yeah,
but that's the thing. The numbers are deceptive because look at her opposition and look at the quality of those fights.
It's fine. I mean,
it's fine. It's fine. I'm just saying, don't get carried away.
What are you gonna fucking do?
No.
Cyborg,
I agree. I'm just saying, let's not get carried away with the number thing. That's all.
No, but you gotta. That's the best they can do in women. In women's over bantamweight, like you only get terribly inflated records. There's no such thing as like an unpadded potential like up and comer.
Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Look at
all right.
Your face. Who's that? The heavyweight. The heavyweight and Risen killing everybody.
Gabby Garcia.
Yeah. Gabby.
Don't
tell me that's not a padded record.
Don't even go there.
You don't have a choice.
Yeah. All right. Co-main event: Magomed Karamov, Bojan Velichkovic, and Vic. Who are you taking?
Whoa, Magomed Karamov has. Again, really slick. I mean, that patented, wild Russian grappling thing. But Velichkovic can hit, man. That dude can actually go, and I really think he might be able to put one on and put him away. So I'm going to go with Velichkovic on this one.
All right, Eddie.
Man, I think this is going to be a boring ass fight. Psych. I think it's I really think it's going to be exciting. I really expect him to bang this out, and I really think it's only going to go to the ground if someone gets hurt. I don't think Velichkovic is going to come out looking for that takedown like he did in his last fight. Magomed is mean with his striking. Like lots of long punches, solid volume, good use of his range, and he destroyed Herman Tirada in the first round in their PFL matchup. I mean, absolutely pieced him up on the feet, took his back, and then choked him out unconscious. It was beautiful. Velichkovic has faced better opposition. I mean, he went toe-to-toe with Darren Till and lost a decision. So, I mean, that alone is valuable time spent in the cage. Where Magomed, I mean, who's the best person he's ever beat?
Herman Tirado.
Okay, there you go. So, the experience, the level of opposition favors Velichkovic here. He does to Jonathan
Anatoly Takov way back in the day. That's probably his best. Way back in the day.
Way back.
I think Magomedov is the more crafty striker, and I think that's going to translate into scoring more volume throughout the fight. And I think Magomed Karamov is going to walk away with a split decision because of it. But I think this is going to be really tight, and I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah,
but
that is how Velichkovic tends to fight. He tends to fight very gamely and close losing efforts.
Yeah.
So sounds right.
It's going to be fun though. I hope.
All right. That brings us to our main event. Oh wait, no, Eddie or Vic. That brings us to you.
Yeah, I was wondering, do I get something here?
Magomed Karamov, Bojan Velishkovic.
I already picked Velishkovic.
Yeah, no. Vic, it's my turn to go first for the Cooper.
Okay, whatever. Eddie,
it's been a long day. It's been a long day, Zach.
I'm getting lost.
All right, so the main event of PFL 6 2018 season. This is both men coming off of huge upsets. Ray Cooper III destroyed Jake Shields. Pavel Kush with his club and sub of Abubakar Nurmagomedov. Cool guys, awesome. Should they be headlining it because they're coming off those upsets? Whatever, I don't care. It doesn't bother me. Both guys heavy-handed. Cooper probably a little more dangerous on the feet, I would say. I'm curious to see who the better wrestler is going to be. Vic, you smuggling babies again?
Only the one. You know who he is.
Yeah, I'm curious to see who the better wrestler is going to be in this matchup, because I think that's going to be the difference maker. It's who is more willing to go into those other areas of the fights instead of just standing in front of each other. I definitely expect this to end early. And I think I'm going to take the guy coming off the more impressive upset, and that is Ray Cooper III. So I'm going to take him by knockout, but I mean, this could easily go either way. Both guys have yet to really prove themselves. So,
all right, Vic, who are you taking?
It's funny, Eddie, everything you just said, like, I was thinking about that this morning, and my main concern right now is, like, it seems to me that Kush is the kind of guy that'll be able to bully Cooper around, and that's where I'm starting to see that might be more of a bigger problem for Cooper. But at the same time, he's got really, Cooper's got still a very good all-around game, whereas Kush, just by his physicality and his ability to outlast opponents, is probably going to be able to take this. So, dude, what the fuck? What are you doing? Good? All right, awesome. Here.
You cursing at the baby, Vic? What
dude,
are you doing?
He curses at me too. He started it. He stole my back scratcher too. That warrants a cursing out.
Is it the same one Kid Nate uses when he's scratching his?
Yeah, we send it back and forth to each other. Yeah. Now that he's on vacation for the immediate foreseeable future, I'm using his. It's like I kind of feel like the safe money's with Kush, but I just get the impression that Cooper might be able to make he's making those strides to be better. And I don't know, maybe it's like we're overly impressed with these upsets, and neither one of these guys is really that much better than we thought initially. I don't know, but I'm like there's a very good likelihood of an upset here, assuming that Kush is the favorite. But I'm still going to stick with him on this one.
Yeah, I mean, that really is, for as little as you could say about Kush's record, there's really nothing other than that Jake Shields win on Ray Cooper III's record.
Yeah.
Like, and a lot of it's opportunity too. But I mean, like, you look at the even Kush's losses, like you look at something like Beslan Isaev, Rafael Silva, and Haider Hassan. It's like those are not pushovers. He's beaten some pretty good guys in the past, Luis Dutra, like not earth-shattering, anything that's like incredibly revelatory. And he did beat a bunch of guys that were making their pro debuts at the time, but it's like, yeah, but still, he's been fighting a more consistent set of opponents in the guys that were more experienced. So I don't know.
All right.
I think honestly, I don't know either. Like I don't feel confident picking either one of these guys.
But that's what makes it so much more compelling. Hell of a lot more compelling than that fucking Bellator card that we tore through in 10 minutes. I mean,
all right.
Yeah. It's a weird fact. I will say this: so far, PFL through the season, much to my surprise, their system has actually created the feeling that there are stakes to all of these fights.
Yeah,
like it does actually feel like going out and tearing through some dude means something, and that people want to go out and they want to put on. It's got kind of that Contenders series feel to it, where you're like,
yeah,
oh yeah, all these guys want to win, and it's fun to see, especially for fighters like Shields or Taylor or Umalatov, and even Chris Wade recently. Like it's fun to see guys who have been known for being in fights where even winning or losing, they were boring. where it's just like suddenly it's like, oh, you got something to fight for now, and you see like like
John Howard got a finish.
exactly. Like you see guys who are like going out and they're taking risks that they don't take.
Oh shit! Who's that? Who's the 205er or the heavyweight guy? That's
Francis Bajos.
Yes, he's out here finishing people.
Fucking like out there just running through people, and it's credit.
It goes to show what $1 million will the kind of fire it ignites when you actually pay these guys their worth instead of like making them down.
And you give them something that they're actually fighting for specifically. There's a whole point. Like you win this, you move forward. You move forward by winning this. You are not just treading water on a win and
hoping
moving
you get favorably
matched
up.
Yeah. I haven't been very big on the point system. I still think it's iffish, especially when it comes to guys like really missing weight.
It's got
it is weird, but it's working to a degree. I mean, like it's much more of a motivation than the show and win money thing to like put on an exciting fight.
Exactly.
So I mean, but the only reservation I still have is having somebody like Jake Shields get knocked out as brutally as he did very recently and throwing him back in.
No, there are a ton of problems with it. No,
that is my biggest right now. That's my biggest concern.
But other than that, of it is that the quality fights it's produced out of guys who don't necessarily produce quality fights.
This is true. Yeah.
So, all right. On that note, we got to wrap this up. I got to be somewhere. You can find me on Twitter at These Anytime. You can find Eddie on Twitter at The Eddie Mercado. You can find Vic on Twitter at Vic M. Rodriguez. You can find all three of us over at BloodyElbow.com. We'll be back next week for UFC Lincoln, Gagey versus Vic. I'll be there for the Vivisection. Eddie and I will be there for the 6th round. We will have lots more shows. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, MMANation.com, DOTCOM, all spelled out. Give us a like over on YouTube. Thumbs up.
Do it.
Down there. That helps us a ton. And thanks everyone for tuning in. We will see you all next time.